Let me tell you about something that happened a couple of years back, on Halloween 2023. Now, I've never been a huge Halloween person. Costumes, parties, it's just not my thing. But that year, my friends were relentless. They kept talking about this new haunted house that had popped up just outside of town. Honestly, I thought the whole idea was a bit ridiculous. I mean, come on, paying people to jump out and scare you? But the rumors were intriguing. They called it an interactive horror experience, put together by some local art group. We're talking real actors, special effects, creepy dark tunnels. Basically, a live-action horror movie. After days of them begging, I finally gave in. I still figured it was just a silly Halloween gimmick, a way to kill a few hours. But what none of us knew was that we weren't just visiting a set. Someone, or something, actually lived in that building. So we all got our costumes on and headed out around 10 p.m. We hung around downtown for a bit, soaking in the Halloween chaos, before making our way to the so-called haunted house. We got there around 11:30. The first thing that struck me was how remote it was. The road leading to it was this long, unlit dirt path, completely surrounded by dense, dark trees. I remember thinking, wow, they really went all out to find a realistic location for this. And then we saw it. The house itself looked like it was ripped straight out of a nightmare. It was an old, decaying building, totally dilapidated. Massive spider webs clung to every corner, and scrawled across the front, in what looked disturbingly like blood, were the words, "Death awaits you." Okay, I'll admit it. I was starting to feel a little thrill. A part of me was impressed, thinking, whoever set this up is a genius. We walked up to the heavy wooden door and knocked. It creaked open, and we stepped inside. The air hit us immediately, thick, heavy smell of mold, rust, and dampness. It was clearly an old, abandoned factory. Standing there in the gloom was a woman draped in a black cloak. She handed each of us a small, laminated card without saying a word. Finally, she spoke. "If you want to leave," she whispered, "show this card." But her voice, it was weird. It didn't sound like she was reading from a script. It sounded like a genuine, serious warning. It was incredibly convincing. I was amazed by the commitment to the role, but a real sense of dread started to creep in. I tried my best to hide it from my friends, putting on a brave face. The first couple of rooms were pretty much what we expected. We navigated through pitch-black corridors while masked figures lunged at us from the shadows, accompanied by piercing screams from hidden speakers. Standard haunted house stuff. But then we entered the third room and everything changed. The vibe shifted instantly. It looked like an old, sterile hospital room. The walls were a grimy, peeling white, and right in the middle was a single, rusty hospital bed. Someone was lying in it. We assumed it was just another actor, part of the show, but then we noticed they were breathing. A slow, rhythmic breath, amplified and echoing around the room from unseen speakers. It was unnerving. My friends were kind of laughing it off, whispering, "Seriously? Is there a big scare? A guy taking a nap?" But just as they said that, a row of old monitors on the wall flickered to life one by one, and we were on them. It was security camera footage of us. From the moment we stepped into the building, someone was watching our every move. My friend chuckled. Okay, that's a pretty cool touch. Very realistic. But then my eyes locked onto one of the screens. Something was wrong. I started counting. There were 5 figures on the monitor. But there were only 4 of us in my group. My blood ran cold. "Guys," I stammered, "do you see what I'm seeing?" The cloaked woman who greeted us at the door, she wasn't with us. She wasn't on the screen. My friends and I huddled together, the nervous laughter completely gone. I risked a glance back down the corridor we'd just come from, and that's when I saw him. Someone was standing there at the far end, shrouded in darkness. He wasn't wearing a costume, just a plain black t-shirt and gray pants. But his eyes were all wrong. They weren't just dark, they were voids. They seemed to absorb all the light around them, leaving nothing but pure, chilling blackness. One of my friends just broke. "What is this?" He screamed, his voice cracking with terror. "Run! Just run!" We didn't need to be told twice. We scattered, screaming, fumbling for any door we could find. But it was a maze. Every door we threw open just led to another terrifying room, another dead end. We were trapped. In one room, the disembodied laughter of children echoed around us. In another, the horrifying sound of metal scraping against concrete grated on our nerves. The floor beneath our feet felt like it was turning to ice. And no matter which room we burst into, he was there. That man, sometimes standing in a corner, sometimes just appearing at the end of a hall, always silent, always watching with those light-devouring eyes. We were frantic, just running blindly, desperately searching for the way out. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, we recognized the hallway. It was the entrance. We sprinted towards the main door and burst out into the night air, but outside, it was dead silent. The whole setup was gone. No cloaked woman, no spooky lights, no other groups waiting to go in. There was nothing but a thick, rolling fog and the distant, wailing sound of a police siren getting closer. When the police finally arrived, they looked at us like we were crazy. "What are you kids doing in this condemned building?" One of the officers asked, shining his flashlight on the crumbling facade. We were all shaking too hard to speak, trembling with a fear so deep it was paralyzing. None of us could bring ourselves to explain what we'd just been through. We just wanted to go home. We practically begged them to escort us back into town. When we finally got back to my place, we huddled together, trying to process everything. Numbly, I pulled out my phone to look at the pictures we'd taken earlier in the evening. There were none from inside the haunted house. My phone had died, and my friends were too scared to even think about it. But the last selfie we took, right before we went in, I zoomed in, and there, just behind my friend's shoulder, was a hand. A pale, thin hand with impossibly long fingers, reaching out as if it was trying to grab the phone from my grasp. We all saw it. We immediately turned off our phones, unplugged everything, and spent the night in terrified silence. The next morning, the real horror began. One of our friends was missing. He just wasn't there. His parents called, then the police. When the officers came to question us, they told us the old factory had been officially closed and condemned since 2015. They searched for days, but they never found any record of an event being held there. No art group, no rental agreement, nothing. It was as if the haunted house we experienced had never existed. To this day, the locals in that area whisper stories. They say that every year, a few days after Halloween, the lights in that abandoned factory flicker back on. And if you listen closely, you can hear a faint, chilling laugh coming from inside. I still hear that laugh in my nightmares. I can't forget it because that laugh, it belonged to our missing friend. Thanks for listening. If you have a story you want to share, let me know in the comments. And if you want to hear more, don't forget to like and subscribe. Stay safe out there.